Our next guest says Christmas would come early for asset managers if private equity investors are able to take over failed banks. Free market at work. Joining us now, Bill Bartmann, CEO of Bartmann Enterprises and author of Bailout Riches. This is the man on your screen who says that under certain conditions, we could see more than 1,000 banks fail within the next year. Bill, what would we have to see for that to happen?
Well, good afternoon, and thank you. All we have to see is unemployment continue to rise. Right. And right now, unemployment's heading for 10%, and it's soon to hit 11. And when that happens, we're going to watch the same bank failure rate that we saw back in the 80s and the 90s, where as many as 250 banks a year fell for a 10-year period of time. 2,500 banks failed during the last crisis, and we easily see 1,000 failing this time.
Give us the connect between unemployment rates and why banks would then in turn fail.
Well, absolutely. And we have been focusing, or at least most of the attention has been on the 19 biggest banks, those which have been stressed, and Citicorp and Bank of America and elsewhere. But what we really ought to be paying attention to is the other 8,200 banks that are out there in mid-America or small-town America, where their primary loan has been made to commercial enterprises, businesses in small-town America. Well, as the unemployment rate rises, those consumers spend less money. As they spend less money, those businesses sell less goods. As they sell less goods, they retract even further, and those loans start becoming bad. When those loans become bad, the small-town banks cannot withstand it. They begin to fail. Unemployment again increases.
Domino effect. 45 banks have failed so far this year alone, and I think that there's some 26 that are coming up in June. I think that's what we saw. 25. 305 banks are on the troubled list over at the FDIC. Does the FDIC have this right? Do you think they're underestimating the problems?
Oh, always. And bless their heart, FDIC is probably one of the better agencies out there, and I have a great deal of respect for them. They do know their job, and they do it well. But they are the last one in the world to yell fire in a crowded theater. They are not going to try to panic the banking industry. So the 305, you can mark that down. That's the minimum, not the maximum.
25 total last year. That's the number I was looking for. So only 25 banks failed last year. We've already got more than 40, and it's only June. What else do you see? And would these be the small regional banks? Because you specifically just referenced that. But I thought, and we've had so many regional bank leaders on saying, we know our customers. We didn't make those kooky, crazy loans. But this isn't exactly a crazy loan situation. This is an economic picture that you're saying, right?
Absolutely, and think about it the way banking has morphed over the last now 10 to 20 years. In the old days, every bank did all of it. Well, then with the housing boom that happened during the last cycle, most of those loans were securitized and not handled by the local financial institution. Likewise, the automobile loans went to the big banks, not the little banks. That paper was sold upstream. The little bank had little left to do besides lend in their own local community. Well, you drive up and down Main Street in any city right now, you'll see empty storefronts, which means the owner of that building is not paying their bank loan.
What if private equity came in, private enterprise came in and said, hey, we'll pick up these pennies on the dollar. We're ready to take that risk. But aren't there very complicated rules and regulations that involve bank ownerships? We've seen some big boys with billions of dollars having a lot of trouble trying to pick up financial institutions. Should the FDIC make those rules a little bit more lax so somebody can save these banks?
Well, there's two things going on under the public-private investment program, and one is that they are allowing now non-bank holding companies to come in and actually rescue a failed bank. In the old days, there was plenty of banks available to do the rescue. Well, now the banking industry is so weak, there are sometimes not enough healthy banks to take over a failed bank, so they are allowing private equity to come in. Now, I'm not in favor of expanding it from that direction. I'm in favor of what the FDIC is also doing with the assets the FDIC has taken from failed banks. They are now offering them out to, we'll call it average citizens, to be able to buy non-performing credit cards, car loans, consumer loans for pennies on the dollar, which is a great opportunity for the consumer to actually take advantage of this opportunity.
And by the way, we hear the FDIC is hiring a lot of people. I mean, they need the help as these banks go under, and they need all of that. But in your opinion, how effective has the stimulus plan been?
I am a very optimistic, positive guy, but the truth of the matter is I'm severely disappointed in the amount of money we've spent for the reaction we've had. We have poured now billions and hundreds of billions and dangerously close to $1 trillion already expended, and I haven't seen the needle move, and quite frankly, I don't think anybody's seen the needle move, which really then begins to concern us. How many more trillions do we have to pump in to accomplish the result we were promised $817 billion ago?
Big question, not a lot of answers right now. Bill Bartmann, good to see you. Thank you for coming on to talk about this.
Good to see you again. Thank you.
Bill Bartmann is the CEO of Bartmann Enterprises. He's also the author of the book Bail Out Riches.